along with that, since it kind of comes at this point, at that time, you can create a family agreement between yourself and your child. And this is an example of a front and back page of a family agreement, of just kind of spelling it out. And honestly, as I read through it, I was like, there's nothing on here that I wouldn't want to talk to my kid about. You know, I mean, I feel like all this stuff could be covered. But create a family agreement. And this is a chance for you guys, and I think this should reflect really that whole idea of protecting them as a child. You want to protect them as a child as they're beginning. And then it reflects that you want to move them towards adulthood. You want to move them towards responsibility and freedom. And so as you create this agreement, create it like here's the things that we're protecting you. This is a rite of passage. You're just starting out. Here's what we're protecting you. We're going to move you, though. As you show responsibility, as you show wisdom, we're moving towards this. And by 18 or by this age or by whatever, we may not require some of these things that we're going to require. You know, you'll get freedom. And then if the rules are broken, here's where we go. And I think, too, if you can make this mutual, and this is where I'm realizing in my own deal with my kids, you know, and then bring me the phone and say, Daddy, your phone, you know, it's like, man, I'm already modeling so much to my young children. Like, they think this phone is supposed to be a part of me, you know, and that's just scary for what I've already modeled to my 2-year-old. So as much as this can be mutual, as much as you can enter in and go, you know, all right, here's some things, family agreement, I'll jump in. You know, you saw in both Adam and Marco's examples, they share similar rules with their children, and it's a mutual thing that they kind of all agree to together. So make it mutual, and I think it'll have even more of an impact if you kind of get in that together. And it'd be great to ask them, what are some dangers you see, especially as a young, you know, as a 11, 12, 13, wherever you decide the age is, or older, 15, I don't know, 18, whatever you guys decide. But wherever you decide to ask them, what are the dangers you see? What rules do you think should be here? And maybe they even enter in with you and it becomes something you do together. I would recommend you require passwords and periodically check on them. It's one thing to log in as yourself on Facebook and look, and we know Facebook's not popular, but you know, I know that's the one that you guys are on, and look at the rest of it. It's a whole other thing to log into them and to see the private messages and stuff. And don't make it a secret. You know, again, it goes back to the secret of passage. You know, you want to be a parent, you don't want to be a pest, you don't want to be a snoop, but you want to be a parent. And I don't think it's unreasonable that you want to find out what your kids are doing online with everything that we've already talked about. So I think you can, and you pick, and this goes back to where you create the family agreement and you protect them as a child and you move them toward adulthood, and you figure out when you stop requiring passwords, you figure out when they don't have to do that anymore. But I would say you require passwords and you periodically check on them. It's also a chance for you may get on there and you may see their friend has sent them a picture, or their friend has sent them something that you wouldn't want them to see, and you see them respond with wisdom. And that's a chance for you to go, look, I saw you respond with wisdom. I want to lift that up. I want to praise that. I want to tell you that that was the right thing to do. And then wherever they cross boundaries, you have a chance to clarify and redefine and help them kind of understand that. In gray areas where you're kind of like, oh, I'm not super comfortable, it's a place to enter in conversation. Say, I saw this, I'm not comfortable with it, let's talk about it. And so that's why I do that. Another idea, and this goes back to the where leads to what, is restricting their physical access. You know, one family that I read in different articles, they checked in all their devices at bedtime. So the whole family had a central place where maybe they plugged and charged the iPads and the phones in a central spot. And the parents did it as well, and everybody checked in their phones at a certain time. I know for me, you know, one of the things I was thinking was I have the phone on the nightstand. And often, if I can't fall asleep, like I get on Flipboard and start reading like news articles, or the first thing I wake up, I feel like I need to check the weather, and then all of a sudden I'm hitting the email app. Like, what am I doing right now? Like, seriously, why am I doing this? And so, like, I've been committed to, like, I'm gonna get an alarm clock, and my phone's gonna be plugged into the kitchen, and it'll charge in the kitchen. I don't need it on my nightstand. And there'll be a time when I plug it in for the night, and then I go to bed. So maybe that's something you guys do as a family, checking devices at nighttime. And maybe too, you know, that's, you know, for you as adults, that might lead to a little spike in the love life. I don't know. Just saying. Consider regulating screen time and alone time in the rooms, and that goes back to what we were talking about with the where leads to what. But maybe you figure out a way to do that. You know, obviously Marco allowed his kids to take it, Adam's didn't. That's what you guys figure out. One story that Adam told, but he actually, his kids are younger, so he restricts what they Google. They have to ask him before they Google something. And it came about because his son wanted to play internet games. And he's like, well, how are you going to get internet games? It's like, well, I was just going to Google Playboy games because he's a boy and he wanted to Playboy games. So then it's like, okay, so now before you Google something, you have to ask me. And so, you know, and his kids were young and innocent, you know, but it was a chance to enter in the conversation. But And then this is something I really want to do. Morgan and I have been talking about, just as we've been convicted through this as well, is create a Sabbath or a tech-free zone or a technology basket. You know, like I come in from work often and I'm still distracted by my phone or still thinking about stuff. And since you still have access to stuff and you think about it, you just want to handle it right away sometimes as opposed to let it go the next day. And my kids go to bed about 7:30 and I get home 5:36. I mean, I got a short window with them, and why would I waste it hanging out on my phone? So just having a technology basket when we come in, and from 5 to 8 o'clock or whatever time, just drop it in when I come in. I don't need it. There's no reason I need it, and to be more present with my family. And so maybe for you, it's pick a Saturday once a month, or maybe it's, you know, whatever, or it's a certain time. I was reading a New York Times article on the dangers of parenting online, and it said a mom decided that she was going to put in this 4 to 8 no technology zone. She had young kids that are like 11 to 13, somewhere in that range. And when she told them about it, they're like, "Woohoo! Mom has to put away her cell phone." You know, she was expecting them to be upset and like throw a fit, and they were like, "Are you serious? You're going to put away your phone?"
Oh.
You know, so and I think when we saw the survey results, you know, they think we're just as addicted as they are. So there's something to be said about that. So those are just some ideas. Obviously, there could be a whole bunch of variations there, and you guys are going to have your own ideas, but.